Hey guys, it's your girl Samantha Johnson, the Melanin Agent, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk. Now, I have a special guest of mine, my bestie, Jerrise Spencer, and I'm super excited that she is here today to definitely talk about her journey in real estate and how she was able to have the revenue from her real estate business to fund her other businesses. So, bestie, I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, as my first guest. And I just want you to introduce yourself to the people.
All right. So my name is Jerrise Spencer. I am a former teacher, former realtor, and now real estate investor and tech founder here.
I love it. I love it. Now, she's being very modest, you guys. So this lady was the top producing agent when she was in the business, right? What was it? Top GCI, top volume, top units, all three in literally 1 year. Yeah. So tell us about like that journey, making it happen in all three categories, which is very rare in today's real estate world.
Yeah. So I think it wasn't something that was planned. Like I didn't plan to come into real estate and just soar to the top. Of course, every time you make a goal or you jump into a business, you want to be the best.
Yeah.
And one of the things that for me, one of my goals was just to serve families. So at that moment, I was coming out of education. So I was used to working with kids and used to educating people and used to having patience and going through the process. And so what I ended up doing was hiring a coach first who had me goal set, and I was reaching so high. And, you know, knowing how the numbers and how many people you need to talk to, all of that didn't really matter. What mattered to me was how many families I could help.
Yeah.
And so it ended up starting off with like, you know, maybe 2 or 3 deals in January and February. And then the more families I talked to and the more people that I educated, the more people came to me. And I felt like the more information I gave, it was empowering other people to give that information to their family and their friends so that they became interested and knew that home ownership was available for them too. And it was reachable. And so it went from that to 5 or 6 transactions a month to 11 to 12 to 13 transactions a month.
I know that's right.
But the thing is I was never looking at that because I had a number in my head of helping 100 families. And I think at the end of that year, I helped about 60 by myself.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. No, I mean, and I love the fact that you blended what your previous employment was, which was a teacher, and you blended that into real estate. And I think that, you know, with me being on social media and spreading the word about education and educating our community, I think that's so important for people to be comfortable about the process because we do it all the time.
Right.
So of course it just flows with us. But when you have that person that doesn't even know where to start and you being able to educate them, I think that's super, super awesome.
Yeah. And it was so empowering to me because, you know, being an educator, and I was educator from K to 8, you know, from K, you're moving kids on to 1st grade, and from 5th grade, you're moving kids on to middle school, and 8th grade, you're moving kids on. And so every time you do that, it's a great feeling of like handing them a diploma. And so I just would translate that over to like handing my clients the keys. And it was like they were graduating into a new place in their life. And a lot of my clients were first-time home buyers, and they were young, and I was a young first-time home buyer. So I think that once I was allowing them to see like, this is easy, we can do it. You just have the right people in your corner. Once they took that picture with their keys, their friends were like, oh, I'm doing that too. And at that time, a lot of people were like, I don't want to deal with first-time home buyers. And I was like, give them to me, because those first-time home buyers are the ones that are going to tell their friends. They're the ones who are going to be on social media. They're the ones who are going to post and brag about you. And that's what I wanted. And I think at that time I had read a book called Raving Fans. And so it's like, you need to get people who are going to be your raving fans so you don't have to go and say, hey, I'm a realtor, right? Because they're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So and that's what made it amazing.
I think that's amazing too. And that's what I see a lot too with first-time home buyers or first-time home sellers. You know, is that they rave about their agent. Like till this day, I still get referrals from first-time home buyers and first-time sellers. Like, yeah, you got to use that person.
Yeah, it's like, are you still doing real estate? Like, yeah, I was like, a baby when you met me. You know what I mean? I was like my first year in, but they don't know that too. You know, that if you come to them with the education, and it's important to make sure you're educating yourself too. And I think a lot of agents now are in the business of quote unquote hustling houses or just in the business of wanting to be an agent, but not taking the time to educate themselves on home ownership. Some of them haven't been through the process of even owning their own home. They haven't made the right connections with loan officers and title companies and home inspectors. You learn so much as an agent with your home inspector. That was my biggest thing, was get you a home inspector that's going to teach you about a house. So when you walk your clients through that house, they think you're the genius and you're just regurgitating what that home inspector said or what they may say later. And you be like, see, I know it, you know? So it's just a matter of getting the right team and then like making sure you're educated. So that was, you know, that was one of the things for me. So it was never a money goal. It was never a units goal. Well, it was a units goal for families and it was never like a GCI. Like I didn't even know my numbers. I never knew my numbers. I never knew my numbers. Like even, you know, for awards, everyone's like, are you coming to awards? Because I never came to the office. So it was like, are you going to come in? I'm like, okay, I'll come. Bring your family. Why? Right. You know what I mean? Invite your mom for what? You know,
you must be talking about Cindy.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I invite everybody. And I'm like sitting there and I'm joking through the whole awards and we get to the end. I'm like, all right, well, it's the end. And then it's like, and then our number one, I'm like, what? Like, those are my numbers? Oh, those are my units? Like, wow. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think when you're doing something you love, everything else just goes out the window. Everything else, all of that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like the reward is in seeing your clients happy. You know, so that was what it was for me.
And then that's what I do. Like to this day is when I tell other agents who, you know, that I talk to, I'm like, you have to learn to fall in love with the daily activities. And the daily activities include researching the market. Like, what is the market doing? What are some, you know, grants or programs that lenders have, so that when they have those questions or concerns or feel like that they can't purchase a home, you're like, no, you can. This is the process and you can actually do it.
And that goes back to education as an agent. I think it's important. You know, having your real estate license is one thing, right? And I always would say, like, getting my license to be a teacher made me a teacher, but knowing what I knew made me an educator. You know what I mean? And so when you're a real estate agent, getting your license makes you a licensed real estate agent. But the knowledge of being a realtor is totally different to me. You know, people use those words interchangeably, but I just think that, you know, when it comes down to it, you have to continue to know. And that is falling in love with the day-to-day, falling in love with the business, wanting to know the same way, you know, anyone that's in a sport can eat, breathe, and sleep that sport. It's the same thing as an agent. We need to know the plans. We need the programs. We need to know, you know, what type of loans are available. We need to know how to get our clients credit to where it needs to be. We need to know what type of house they can be in, like, if it's FHA approved, if it's not, all those condo things. And you have so many agents that mislead their buyers, especially, or even their sellers. And then they fall into our hands.
Right. With them not understanding, they be like, hey,
sorry, I got you. Yeah, you know.
Let's get the key.
Take a picture. Yeah, you know, but yeah, and I think that for real estate, it was so rewarding for me. It was so much fun. And I think that the thing about it too is you have to have so much patience, because in every transaction, you are literally dealing with at least 5 personalities. I mean, and
we have 5 jobs.
And we have 5 jobs. Yeah. And I don't think that people understand that. So when you're multiplying, you have 5 deals closing, you're dealing with 25 personalities, unless you have the same home inspector and lender and title. But if not, you got to think about, you're dealing with the client, the title company, the home inspector, the lender. And if the client has a mother, father that's involved, or a husband or wife that's involved, or a best friend that thinks they're real, and then the other agent. So it's so many personalities in it, and you have to bring your emotion out of it. My first transaction was so emotional. Yeah. Because I was so attached. And then after that, it was like, all right, but I was attached, but I was attached in a different way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah. It's a rewarding, it's a very rewarding job.
It's a rewarding, especially when when they get emotional. I'm like, don't get emotional because I am a crybaby. I will cry with you. I would not be able to console you. We got to cry each other.
I know. That's how it is.
I'm the same way.
And I'm like, let me get on the other side of this phone. Tears be dropping. I'm like, listen.
Right. And then I could be your advocate where I'm fighting for you, where I'm angry because they're trying to play you. Yes. I'm like, no, they're not going to play my client.
That's another rewarding part is being an advocate. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that people understand the advocacy of being a realtor. Like you have to advocate for that on that negotiation. Yep. You know, you have to advocate on the home inspection, you know, and even sometimes with the title company as far as fees, what's being put on there. And, you know, I've given up a lot of my commissions to make sure my buyers get into houses. Because I'm like, I have mine, you know what I mean? I have mine, so why would I not give away? I'm going to be blessed anyway.
Exactly.
So, you know.
And a lot of people frown on it. I'm like, I listen, not at all. I will give what I need in order to have my client go to closing. Because guess what? Zero. Exactly. And guess what? When they close, they're going to refer you to their mama, daddy, cousins. It comes back. And it's going to come back to you 10 times fold. So that, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. So when you, I mean, obviously you were successful in real estate, right? So what made you even consider other businesses besides real estate? Like what made you be like, you know what? Well, let's expand this.
And that's so funny. Okay, well, one of my businesses being a tech founder.
Matter of fact, let's go back. Yeah. What are your other businesses? How about that? You have a bunch.
So I don't like to call myself a serial entrepreneur. I like to call myself Jack of all trades. I don't want to be a serial entrepreneur
of all trades.
I'm the Jackie of all trades. Yeah, because you know when the serial part, well, I mean, it kind of it's like you're all over the place, and I guess I am, but so my businesses are so I own a tech company, and I'm a founder called the Show Off app, and that's a real estate app that's like the Uber of real estate. I own a clothing line called Smitten. So like
and I've gotten a couple of little pieces.
Yeah. And that is available on Amazon. And then from there, I own Salon Suites. So I started to invest in real estate. So I became an investor to invest in I had 3 locations of Salon Suites. And then last I stepped into being a business coach because why not?
I was about to say, don't you forget that. I was wondering if you was gonna remember.
Because why not? So so I coach businesses now, business owners, I should say, and helping them create their own brand. And so it's called Beauty Business and Branding.
I love that. Yeah, that's a good sketchy line. Yeah, I love that. So based on those businesses that you created, like again from the original question, like what made you like step out and say, I need to extend?
Yeah. So with the tech company coming first, that really came from me being a realtor. And there was no way I was able to do 100 deals, right? And I did 60, but there was still no way for me to do 60 deals in 1 year as a second year agent, right? Without help. And so during that time, I hired agents to show properties for me. And this is kind of before people were like, the showing agent model came about. Yeah. It was like, how do I duplicate myself? Like, how do I can't get there. And I wasn't willing to give it up. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't willing to tell somebody no. So it became, how can I get there? So I started putting out, you know, fillers and ads for agents in the office that were available to show properties. And I hired one agent and I had her busy and another agent and had them busy. And I think I ended up having about 3 agents that were showing properties for me, and which allowed me to triple everything, my units, my like everything. And from there, people kept saying, well, you know, how did you do that? And I'm like, it's a showing model, a showing agent model, and it's actually in the MREA book. And but no, people overlooked that model, so I was like, I'm gonna use this. And that allowed me to say, well, how can I make this an app, right? Because back then it was like, there's an app for that, you know. And so I was like, how can I make this an app? And so I started brainstorming, and I found a tech company in Knoxville, Tennessee that I work with to develop the app called the Show Off app, which allows agents to show properties for other agents and kind of drop the client's information and properties they want to see into the app. And then it sends out a broadcast just like a Uber would when you request a ride, and people can take a job and get paid.
I think that was like genius, honestly. I mean, I've used it and I've told you how good that platform is. Because it shows too, because like you said, you added the 3 showing partners to your business, which allowed you to triple your business. And I love the fact that you're saying that, because I understand listings are good. I understand that it gives you more freedom from what they say.
Right.
But when you have the leverage like you did, where I think not the worst, I won't say the worst, but the most time consuming part is showing houses.
Yes.
And so when you can have that leverage to other people, where your main job is the negotiating part of it and understanding the numbers and expressing that to your client, I think that's where your job needs to come in.
Yeah.
And so having showing partners, I have it too, showing partners, I think that's the best thing that an agent can do to increase their business.
Yeah. And I think that it's great to have showing partners when you have those clients who are needy, right? Because you can, and then you have clients that are just like, okay, well, I just want to go see, and it's every now and again, because then you can dedicate your time to that person who needs you. And then you just introduce the rest of your team to the others, and it works like that. I think also that at that time, you couldn't have a team until you've been a realtor for 3 years. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, how am I going to get this help? And I definitely wasn't joining a team, So I was like, well, I'll create my own unofficial situation, and that's what I did. But and so from there I created the app, and then I like to shop, and so I was like, well, why am I buying other people's clothes? Clothing on my own. I know what I like, and I think people like what I like, and that's where Smitten was born. And so
I love the name. Smitten. That's
Smitten
cute.
was just like, where fashion is our love language, is our tagline. And then every category was a part of being in love. So white was on anything, clothing white was on cloud 9, and and blue, all of our denim was I got the blues, and anything with design was it's complicated. So it's all about being in a relationship. It was a really cute idea. So
I love that.
And then from there, the suites kind of fell into my lap. I had some girls who were doing my lashes and doing my hair, and they just weren't happy where they were. And as a realtor, I'm like, let me help y'all find a salon suite. And they were like,
helping hand.
Yeah, I was like, I can help y'all. And they were like, we don't have W-2s. So I was like, what if I rented a spot for you guys? What if I rented this spot for you guys, and you guys moved in and it was yours, and I was just your landlord, and it went from 5 girls to 13 girls to tattoo artists to another 2 more, so ended up being 15 girls in one of my buildings, to me open up another building that had 10 locations, 10 suites. And then my tattoo artists, I moved them out into a tattoo shop. So they were there in their tattoo shop, and, having the 3 locations. And then eventually the tattoo artist took over that, and then closed down one of the 10 locations, because I was able to get the 3rd floor in my building, which actually ended up being another 10.
Wow.
8 locations.
The one on Crane Highway?
Yeah, another 8 locations upstairs, and then a wellness studio.
Wow.
So yeah, we just opened up the wellness studio, and then we just added 2 more suites. We just finished that last week. So I think it's a total of 22 suites in the wellness studio.
Wow. And how long have you been, has this specific business?
I want to say 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, 2022. Because we're 25, so it's been 3 years.
You're going to have to start coaching on that. I'm just putting a shameless plug to start coaching, because that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you know what I like so much about the businesses you've created is that you saw that something was missing.
Yeah.
Whether it was the show off app, whether it was, the salon suites, this came off of girls doing your hair and lashes, and you're listening to what the needs are and filling it in with, things that can happen in order to help these people.
Yeah. So. And it's rewarding still. I think initially I looked at it as, you go through all the growing pains, of business, because I was stepping into a space that I wasn't familiar with, right? And so you learn the good and the bad and the ugly of commercial real estate, owning salons, being a landlord, people taking advantage of you, leases not being fulfilled, and things of that sort. And then you start kind of find a happy medium where it's like, okay, I know what kind of people I want in here now. Where initially it was like, yeah, sure, you do hair. Yeah, sure, you do. Now it's like a vetting process, right? And then it also is an energy thing. Like when I'm talking to a new tenant, I'm like, I'm feeling them out. They don't know. They're telling me about their business, and I'm like, are they making eye contact with me? Like, are they confident in their business? Do they have a following, or are they just starting out? And those things can be good or bad, because I can still help them through that. But I think that, again, I look for jobs that are just so rewarding. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, or businesses that I can open that are just so rewarding, because like even when I was smitten, when people got the idea of, oh my gosh, fashion is our love language, and yes, this is, and then they would come and put and buy an order, they loved it. Yep. And I was like, see, people like, but then it was also a matter of seeing a woman come in and be like, I don't know, and then put something on and be like, yeah, this is it right here. And then it was the same thing with the salon suites. I love, and I was just talking to my cousin about this because she does event planning. And I was like, sometimes we have to step back and look at what we created.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because we get so caught up in, well, they're going to pay the rent. They didn't, and look back.
Look how far you've come.
And like step back. Like when I look at it, I'm like, this is 22 plus. I mean, if I kind of over 30 business owners that I've helped, that I've coached, that I provide an opportunity to be able to have their own business. I've had girls come in that were 16 and 17, and now, I'm helping them to open up their own suites, or I'm giving them rooms and say, hey, you can rent these as your suites at this price, what you do. And I'm teaching them the business. I've helped people brand their business, get their LLC because they didn't have one. Yeah. Get their EIN. Let's get your business insurance because you are doing lashes, right?
Yep.
And so there's things like that. But then it's so great at the end of the day when I'm like, it's like a chain effect, right? Because a lot of them were like, their parents couldn't give them. Their parents were government workers or worked somewhere.
They don't know.
They don't know the business.
Like. Yep.
And so for me to step in and mentor and help them to create a business that these girls are making money hand over fist. Do you hear me? And so, and then to watch, like sometimes I'll go to just do something small, like change a name tag or change the water bottles and a thing. And I'll see girls come out and their hair so pretty, lashes are pretty, and they smiling, they on the phone showing. And I'm like, these girls that are doing this business are creators, and they don't realize that the impact that they have on women. Right. So it's really like a triple effect, that I am able to be a landlord and provide the opportunity for business owners to have a space to be creators, to impact other women.
Exactly.
It's so big. It's so big.
And I think that that's the thing that that people don't realize too. Is that, we it's so fulfilling when you can see that chain reaction, like you said, right? And I see that with you, you're saying it in pretty much all of your businesses. Like I said, you had a issue that you pretty much found a way to resolve it.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that it says you went from getting your hair and lashes done to opening up the salon suites to now you have the salon suites, but now you see the young entrepreneurs that need help with, the branding of it, the actual business aspect of it. Because I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, when it comes to the beauty industry, are taken for granted because people don't see them as business owners. They just see someone that's just doing my lashes. They have a whole list of rules that I have to follow. But when people start seeing them as an actual business, they'll be taken seriously, and people will pay that money because they see that it's a business.
And that's the thing too, is like, people don't want to follow the policy, but I teach, like when I'm talking to my girls, the policies need to be in place, because guess what? When we walk into any other business, a doctor's office or somewhere, there's a grace period, and we make sure we're in there on that grace period. Or if we're going into one of these Asian salons, we're respecting that grace period. And so there has to be like, and that's the thing about structure and systems. And I teach that a lot too, but I learned that too. Like, of course, the structure would be an educator, and systems would be an educator, and lesson planning, and then coaching other teachers. But then again, and you get into real estate, if you don't have your systems together, it ain't gonna work.
You're not gonna make it.
And so then when you go into real estate investing, you got to have not only systems in place, but people in place. And then as I'm educating the girls, it's like, y'all have to have these systems in place. What are your policies? What does that look like? You know, and you'll get people who are mad, and you'll get people who are upset because they were 30 minutes late for their appointment and the person didn't want to take them. But I tell my girl, you got to stand on that. You know, you got to stand on that, because, you know, when you lower your standards, or you're lowering your price, what happens is the person that comes behind them is like, well, I ain't going back to her because she was late. Well, she was late because the person, you know,
before them.
So, but yeah, I mean, and I think that it's just every time I think about a business, I just have a heart of service. And so I always come from that aspect of not wanting, right? You know, I find my way, you know what I mean? And a lot of times I never know like what my numbers are until I have to sit down again. Even the same thing with that. It was just like, okay, let me get these girls in. Let me get, you know, and it was never like, oh, let me sit down and do this. It was like, I just kept saying and writing in my journal every morning, I want to make this amount a month. I want to make this amount a month. And then one day I sat down, I was like, you don't even look at your numbers, do you? You know what I mean? Like, you don't even look at your numbers, because I was so engulfed in making sure that, you know, they had this and they had that, and the suites were comfortable, and, you know, security of the suites, and, you know, but I mean, it's just like, they're my babies. I watched them grow up. Like you know, I've had one young lady, she came in, she had one suite, then she had two. And then when I opened up upstairs, I opened up a 4 unit, and now she runs it as a salon suite.
On her own. That is so, oh my gosh. So you own the building, she owns the floor, and then that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So based off of, you know, I mean, you went again, educator to real estate agent, you know, top producing agent, to the multiple streams of income that you have. We all know that when you're in real estate, it consumes you, right? Like, it's your day and night. It's real estate. So with you transferring to now other businesses and just letting, you know, real estate back a little bit, just pulling back a little bit from that, like how did you know it was time? Like, since we eat, breathe, real estate, like, how did you know, okay, let me let go?
I think for me, I knew that it was time. I think I was 6 years in. I may have been 6 years in. And then so I know it's time when something else has my attention. Right? I know people love to say, oh, I'm a multitasker, I got ADHD, or I can do these things. You know, I always say, you know, to be the best at something, you have to know it. You have to know it. You have to study it. You, again, live and breathe it, like real estate. And so when you jump into for me, when I jump into other businesses, I kind of back off of real estate. I used real estate as a financial means to fund my businesses, because my goal first was never to be a realtor. I never planned to be a realtor. It was like, someone was like, you should be a realtor. And I was like, you know, and then it's like, but at the end of the day, it's you kind of go back and you're like, well, what is it I really want to do? Right. And for me, it was just, I don't want to work hard. You know,
I want to make money in my sleep.
I want to make money while I sleep, you know, and you got to sit back and think about that, you know, because when you're I think, and this is my opinion, that when I'm in that space of a realtor, I'm in a very dominant, masculine, alpha female position. and energy. And I don't want to be in that.
You want your soft life.
I just want my life.
Soft era.
Yeah, I just want to live.
Yeah.
And so I
didn't. And I love that for you. We just saw each other on Monday. And I'm like, look at you, friend. You look like it's a Monday. And y'all, she had the nerve to ask me. So I was at a listening appointment. She had the nerve to ask me, what you doing after this? On a Monday, working.
I mean, I don't know. I'm retired.
Say she retired. I love that for you.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that it's just like, when I just don't want to be in jobs where I got to be like assert so much of my energy because it became so exhausting. When you're out having to be this person, because I mean, look, in real estate, you have to be confident. You have to present yourself as knowing. You have to not be a pushover. You have to be strong and stay in your position. Not to say I don't, in these other businesses you don't, but when you're in real estate, you're doing all these things, and then when you come home and it's like,
it's like relief.
Oh yeah, and like talking for me is exhausting. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like there's some days I'm like, it's just
I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything.
And so but because when I am talking to people and I'm educating them, I'm so passionate about it. Right. It pulls so much out of me.
And it brings the confidence to that person too, that they're confident to work with you because you give them confidence that this can actually happen.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. And it's an energy thing, right? I'm pouring into you. And sometimes people are depleted or they don't believe. And I'm trying to give you the confidence and make sure that you understand you can do this. Yes. Even though the home inspection came back this way, you can do this. Same thing with my tenants. Even though, you had 3 cancellations this week, that doesn't mean, we can work this out. You don't have to pay monthly. We can break it down to weekly. Just talk to me.
Exactly. That part.
But it's just never been I just don't want to be in a place where I have to be assertive all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
I leave that to the men.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I've had to learn too, is that, again, falling in love with my daily activities and having a plan of this is what I have to do every day. Right. So once I'm done with the tasks that I've done every day, I can now be satisfied. Yes. Because I think that's what the missing mark is for realtors, is that we don't understand when to be satisfied with what you've accomplished for the day. It may not be a closing. It may that you were able to get through an inspection. It may be that an appraisal came back. It may be that you got a new lead. It could be the smallest thing, but you have to be satisfied in it. So when you are able to have that rest, you can actually have that rest. Like once I'm home, I want to be home and that's it. I don't want to have to deal with real estate. I'll deal with it in the morning.
And that's great because you don't have I don't know if you have a home office, but I know you're in your office a lot. For me, I had a home office, so I would be up all times of the night trying to figure out
trust me,
stuff.
I just learned this.
And now it's like, I don't want to even do that. And so like, I have my time. Like my friends will be like, you will D&D us to death. My phone is on D&D all day.
I'm one of those.
Long. I am not reachable.
I am one of those.
I am not reachable.
And then you know what I'll do, Petty? Notify anyway.
Yeah, you notify me. I was like, wait. And so then I'm like, there's a setting for that too, but that's another conversation. But I don't know. So I think now, like, it's just one of those things for me where it's just like, how do I enjoy life? How do I enjoy life? And I don't have to make what I was making when I was a realtor to enjoy life, because what happens is, when I go run back and think about it, like a lot of my money just went through my hands.
The way you make money fast, you're going to spend it even faster.
And that's why I was like, you got to open up some business. You got to do something because if not, you're going to look back and have nothing to represent what the hard work you put in.
Exactly.
And I think that that's a message too for so many agents, is that while you're in this season of abundance, you got to make that money make money.
Yep.
You can't hold it. You can't hold it, because when you hold it, you come from lack, and you're standing in a lack state. So instead of coming out of that lack state, when you're abundant, it's coming in, put it somewhere, invest in something. I don't care if it's a small idea. I don't care if it's your friend that says, I think about opening up a sneaker shop. Yep. Well, I'm your partner, something, you know what I mean? Even like there's so many, athletes, they invest in startups all day long. They're like, I don't care.
What's the spot that Shaq has some spot that he has a whole bunch of them. It's a chain of stuff that he has, but
he does. Is it Subway?
No, it's not Subway. Oh my gosh, I can't put a name on it.
You
But
think about there's so many,
it's
like
so
Rick
many.
Ross and
Car Wash, Wingstop.
Yeah,
with
Wingstop.
Wingstop.
And I was just watching an interview with the singer Jason Derulo, who people forgot about. He owns like 60 something car washes.
See?
And they're recession proof.
See?
So it's like you got to think like I don't have to be on the scene no more. People wonder why and how. It's like because they did something with what they made.
Yep.
Because those seasons don't come all the time.
And it don't last forever either. And I like the fact that you pointed out is that, it's coming from lack when you want to hold on to it. And it makes sense. I mean, I was a prime example of, making this money. And I always just had this picture perfect. I want to see $100,000 in my account and I don't want to touch it. But then when times get hard, that money dissolves quickly, very fast because you're not putting it into anything. And that's what I've learned, working, being your friend and other people is that spread it out and then let it all come together to see what your bottom line revenue is 100%. Instead of it always just in my bank account sitting there
do nothing.
And not doing
nothing. It's not growing anything. Nothing. It's just not at least putting high yield savings.
It's at least something.
I don't think people look at it in that way. And, again, for people who are wanting to get into the business, it's just about having a plan, having a plan. Like, is this your end all? Did you grow up say, I just want to be a realtor?
I just want to be, I know.
I don't know. And I'm not saying I just want to be because it's a great job. I shouldn't say job. It's a great career.
It is.
Right? It's a great career.
When you have those systems and it's a
great
in place.
Skill set.
Oh, absolutely.
And it translates into so many different fields because like even going from, owning the salon suites, it's now turning over to property management, right? And then it becomes, okay, what does that look like?
Oh, well, you did mention that. One thing about her that I love about Jerrise is that when she has a vision, she doesn't wait. She doesn't, you don't wait. And that's what I love so much about you is that if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. Even if it isn't what you planned out for it to be, or even if maybe, unfortunately, it may not work out, but you tried. Yeah. And I think that's super, super important because we literally was just talking about.
I appreciate that.
Girl, we was literally just talking about property management.
And I'm done Google that, got me a tenant cloud and everything. But that's the thing. You got to go fast.
Yeah, you do.
I tell people in business, you have to go fast because if not, someone will take your idea. Someone will do it 10 times better than you. There's nothing new under the sun. It just depends on like where you are in the development of it. Yep. And my brain moves fast and I have a very creative brain. And so when things come to my mind, I'm like, yep. And typically I take it as a download because I may be sitting in traffic, or I may be meditating, or I may be reading something, or I may just be daydreaming and be like, yep, that's next.
That's it.
Or I'll just see a problem and be like, how can I fix that? And then like, you have people in real estate who, like Samantha, who doesn't I don't want to do rentals. But I used to be that person, like, I don't know if I want to do rentals. But then,
you don't sound like that person.
I know. I'm sorry, girlfriend. I'm not doing rentals, friend. That's too far. I'm not doing that. That's
trying to get me out half a way to do a rental. I was like, I can't.
In my mind, that is making money while you sleep as a property manager.
As a property manager, for sure.
So my job in my life, my main goal is how many steaks can I have in the fire that makes me money while I am sleeping?
And you know what I love the fact too is that if you really look at, okay, what does it look like to fund your life, right? Yeah. Like so I'm on this Inspire group with James Shaw. And what I like about him is that he says, okay, what does it look like to fund your life? I'm talking about trips, clothes, maintenance, nails, hair, all of that. How much does it cost? Then based off of that, then you go into your economic model to create, okay, this is what I need to make. This is how many appointments I need to go to. Like it breaks it down so easily. So I love the fact that you can do it quantitative to know the numbers you have to hit on a daily basis. I mean, I think that's just like, it just helps with overall being able to just know,
I mean, because you think about it, it's like, all right, well, especially when you start adding on things, right? So first it becomes trips, and it becomes, I want a vacation like this. You know what I mean? Then it becomes, I'm not sitting in the back of the
plane.
You know what I mean?
First class.
Then it becomes, when I want this type of view on my, and so when you start to think about that, it becomes, it's not like, somebody can fund that life for you and have some control, or you can have control over it and decide, okay, maybe I need to step into this space. Or if I take on property management, how many properties do I need to manage to do this? It doesn't mean I'm free will. Everybody can bring me, no, it means how many do I need? Do I need just about 10 a month? Do I need like 5 a month? Do they need to be a certain price point? What's my percentage? It's a model. It becomes a model again. What's the fees if I put them on this platform? My team of contractors, what's that going to look like? And so when you think about it, I think instead of jumping into it, it's just all the game plan. It's all the game plan of how to make it all make sense. Yeah. And so,
and then also too, I think knowing each month, how much do you want to make each month will help with what you're managing too. Right. So say, for example, you run down everything and you realize, okay, I need to make like $15,000 a month, in order to live the life that I want. Okay. So what does that look like? Right. So with you, it makes it easier to break down what your expectations are in revenue from each business. And then adding it all together versus, okay, in real estate, which is good. Don't get me wrong. You have the GCI and stuff like that. And, you have expenses and things like that. But at the end of the day, I feel like that I'm comfortable with spreading it out so that I can have that one bucket instead of just forcing myself to look at that one business in real estate, which I love real estate. Don't get me wrong, but I see how
it's called diversifying.
Diversifying.
It's just like a portfolio. Yeah, but you can do it on your own. I mean, you do it when you put money in a 401k or IRA or whatever, and you allow it to be diversified. You can still diversify your businesses, right? If the number is $15K a month that I need to have, well, sure, I can go out in real estate and sell one house, maybe two, and do it. But do I really want to do that? Yeah. Or do I need to say, okay, from Smitten, I need to have $3,000 a month coming in, and from the suites I need to have 7 or 10, or 15. Can I make it off of one? And then it just all depends. And then it becomes okay. When I step into property management, what do I want? What am I using that for? You know what I mean? Exactly. Like you start looking at like 529 plans, like for education for the kids and HSA. You start looking at things as an entrepreneur. There's so many different things that we need to know that we need to have along the way to build our portfolio. Like your life insurance policies, universal life policy that's going to give you money. It's going to be your bank later on down the road. Like there's so many products, and it's like, okay, so if I need this, if I know if I get this, and in 5 years, if I put this in, okay, I can use this money to do that. Yeah. I can use this money to pay for this. This is just my trip. And so have 4 or 5 businesses that's bringing that money in, and then you're just living the life, and then you can kind of sit back. You know what I do 4 days a week?
Sit back.
Like this. Sit back. I do 4 or 5 days a week. We play tennis.
Oh, well, duh. Only because I knew that, obviously. Y'all, she is a whole Coco and what's all the rest of them?
I don't know all of them. But they call me. But
Listen, do you? I love this for you. And she is dedicated, y'all. Like this girl.
But I did all that because I say all that to say that I wanted to fund a life that I can make money while I sleep. I don't have to be doing something if I don't feel like it. And I want to do what I love to do. So
you really do. That's what I love about you. I do what I
love to do. So and you play tennis 4 days a week.
Out here playing tennis 4 days a week. When I'm calling her on Wednesday, what she doing? She get her lashes done. Yep. I was like, okay,
it's a routine.
It's a routine, but it's what the life that was created, that was designed. It's not by default. You created this. Yep. Like I love that for you. And y'all literally, me and her, like I said, this is one of my best friends, and I love the fact that she pours into me, I pour into her. Yeah. And our conversations, we laugh, we joke, we cut up, but at the end of the day, it's of substance. Like our conversation is of substance. We don't, it's just amazing. Right. And so she pushes me even because, again, I'm doing real estate. I have an investment property and things like that. But of course, I need to find a way to, spread it out and do other things. And so, she's always pushing me, sending me signs like, this is the sign for you.
It's important. It's important
Yeah.
for us to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for us to do it now. I mean, especially in our community, we have to move fast because, ideas come, do it.
Yep.
Because you'll be looking at, it'd be 2, 3, 4 years from now. You'll be like, I'm still was working on that. That's what our parents did.
Mm-hmm.
They put stuff aside and didn't get to be and do what they wanted to do. Yep. And we have so much opportunity, especially when you're in the field of real estate and you have the income that comes in, that if you step out of it, you're like, wow, that was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like most realtors make enough money in a couple months that can pay all their expenses for a whole year. But they don't manage their money properly.
Exactly.
And so it just comes down to, kind of knowing what your end goals are. And I think that people don't sit back and do that. And that's great. Life by design.
Yep.
Or purpose by design, and just making sure that we, that as owners and, as entrepreneurs, that we're really, taking our money and diversifying it and not having, like, I've never had a VC, I've never had an angel investor. Almost did for my app.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And then I was like, and then at the end, it just wasn't a good deal.
You was like, this is my baby.
This is my baby. I'm not giving it up. Like, I needed this money when I started. Like, now you coming to me, it's already,
I don't need you.
It's in the app stores, y'all. Like, why do I need them?
Exactly.
But, and that's the thing too, like making sure we're not giving away our business. Especially as women entrepreneurs, we're the first ones to get approached for someone wanting to buy a part of something we created.
Exactly.
Exactly. Or to buy our whole product. Look at all these hair care lines that are women owned that have sold. All of them except for a company called It's a 10. And that woman's a billionaire. She owns 100% of her company.
Wow.
But all the other black hair companies have sold their companies to these bigger companies.
And you could tell the quality changes.
The quality changes.
And it doesn't last long. That's crazy.
What your niece say? Give me my money.
Give me my money. Give me my money. Listen. So as we wrap up, man, we can talk literally all day about this. What's some advice that you can give to a woman real estate agent who feels that she needs to expand, right? What's one go-to thing, like the first step that she may need to do?
I would say the first step would be to, first of all, have a vision. I think that people start with a lack of vision and not knowing where they want to go. It's hard you can ask somebody like, what does this look like for you in 6 months, in a year, and in 5 years? And if it's someone that was like me that didn't plan to go in real estate, it takes a minute to figure that out, right? And so I think it's like starting with a vision would be the first thing for them. Whether it's a vision board, whether it's writing it down, whether it's journaling, something to kind of know like what their goals are.
Yeah.
And to truly know what they are and to stick by them. Because you get wrapped up in there's money coming in, I'm gonna stick here and do this. But then the stress comes behind it too. You know what I mean? The stress comes behind it. And so when you have a vision and your non-negotiables, like I'm not doing this, I'm not dealing with this. Like one of my non-negotiables was I had to have a transaction coordinator.
Oh yeah.
Like I just was not doing it. You know what I mean? And so, what are your non-negotiables for business? So I think that that's kind of the thing to look at it. That I would say is the business plan, or not a business plan, but coming in with a plan and having a goal, an end goal, like an out goal. Like how am I getting out of this? What is it going to look like? Or am I just going to be doing real estate till I'm 65?
Yeah.
And then what does that look like for retirement? So yeah, and then just non-negotiables, you know what I mean? And just thinking about like what your passion initially was. I think we need to get back to what was our passion when we were kids. What did we say we wanted to do? Because we always come back around to that. We don't want to be the people that we've done everything else. We never did what we always want to do all my life. I wanted to be. And that's what happens. And so, use real estate to really, truly fund your dream, your passion, and your best life.
I love that. It was my dream when I was younger.
What was it?
To be a real estate agent. No, it wasn't. No, a news reporter.
Look at you.
Look at God.
Mike.
You see it?
Is it? It was to be a teacher. I went to school and my mom she said, when I went to kindergarten, I told the teacher that I was a teacher. And when my first day, I came back and knew all the kids' names.
That is crazy. You know why I didn't end up pursuing it? It's because I am a homebody and I love Prince George's County, Maryland,
You
and the
can do it from
DMV.
anywhere.
But what was so crazy is that when I was doing my research, it wasn't a guarantee that I would stay in the area. Like someone freaked me out and was like, you could be like Mississippi or something somewhere. And I was like, I'm good. So that stopped really
But now
quick.
with social media, you can do it from your
now
home.
you could just do it now.
Yeah,
So
you
who
just
knows?
yeah.
You might see me on CNN.
You might see, she got a mic in front of her now. She's in front of the cameras. This is your path.
This is my path.
This is your path.
No telling where it will go.
Yeah.
Well, friend, I want to thank you. I really appreciate you. I love you to pieces as always. And guys, I want to thank you for joining us. Until next time, this is Samantha Johnson, the Melanin Agent. Keep pushing, keep planning, and keep asking the real questions.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.